Tonight on Connecticut's news station, rain, rain, go away. We are feeling the impacts of more wet weather. Meteorologist Ryan Britton has more on the effect it might have on your weekend plans.
Plus, a man accused of hitting and killing a teen and his grandfather appears in court. We're hearing how a family is still searching for justice with the latest from the case all ahead.
And calls to address crime at a local shopping plaza, what the owner is pitching as a solution.
Fox 61, Connecticut's news station, starts with a weather impact alert.
Yeah, the rain is here. Good evening. Thanks for joining us here on the Fox 61 News at 6. I'm Sarah Sanchez.
And I'm Bridget Bjorlo. We begin tonight with a weather impact alert.
We take a live look right here at Hartford, New Haven, Middletown, and Mohegan Sun. The question is, though, how will this impact your weekend?
Meteorologist Ryan Britton is timing it all out for us. Ryan, what are you seeing out there?
Well, Bridget and Sarah, the good news is this is mostly an overnight event. So our weather impact alert goes through 2 in the morning for downpours, storms, and a gusty wind, which we already have a few isolated outages in spots. And have a way to get alerts tonight and pay attention to the weather as this line of storms to our west begins coming through. There is a tornado watch that's been issued for Hartford and Litchfield counties, mainly as a precaution. Sometimes in these setups, you can get a quick tornado to form within the line of storms, and that's what we're going to be watching for over the next few hours. Out ahead of the main line, there are some tropical showers, squally downpours in spots, but as we look off to the west, if there is one portion of the line that I'm paying somewhat closer attention to, it's right here around Poughkeepsie, New York. This wouldn't shock me if it starts to rotate a bit more as it approaches Litchfield County. That's about the only part of the line, though, that looks concerning to me, that there could be some rotation. So we'll watch that as it moves east through the next hour here on Fox 61. There is a wind advisory up until 2 o'clock in the morning. The wind is howling out of the south. Gusts right now over 30 miles per hour, and at times they've been up close to 50 in spots. So a weather impact alert continues through about 2 o'clock in the morning as we have this line of downpours and storms coming through. Pretty well modeled here on the hour by hour. I think by 10 o'clock it's moving through the middle part of the state, and then toward midnight it's more eastern Connecticut, and after midnight we'll start to dry things out in western areas by daybreak tomorrow. I think this is pretty much completely out of here, and then we do have a good weekend. I'll keep an eye on the radar and have updates on those storms over the next hour. Back to you.
Thank you, Ryan. As the remnants of Debbie make their way up to New England, United Illuminating says they're ready to respond to any damage, and as of 2 hours ago, UI says it's fully staffed to respond to those outages. Customers are encouraged to use their storm checklist in case they do experience an outage, including making sure your phone is charged and that you have candles and flashlights ready to go.
North Haven police responding to a crash involving 6 cars this morning. It happened on I-91 between exits 9 and 10 just after 7 a.m. The cars involved were found on both sides of the highway. Take a look at this damage there. One person taken to the hospital, we're told, with non-life-threatening injuries. An Amtrak train hit a tractor trailer on the tracks in North Haven early this morning. Police say it happened just before 6 a.m. It happened at the railroad crossing over at Sackett Point Road. Police say the tractor trailer was carrying paper at the time and couldn't get out of the way fast enough. We're told more than 100 passengers were on board that train. Thankfully, no one was hurt. The cause of the crash now under investigation.
A Connecticut family has been grieving for over a year and a half, but tonight they finally saw an alleged killer who allegedly took the lives of their loved ones go before a judge.
The family of the victim, 16-year-old Marcus Rogers, and his grandfather, 84-year-old William O'Leary, say they just want justice and accountability.
Fox 61's Matt Karen has the story from Torrington.
Well, 25-year-old Glenn Reagan was arraigned here today. His attorney calls the incident an accident, while the Rogers family says it was reckless.
Kind of feel like your son's sending you a message?
Totally.
You might remember Marcus Rogers. He's the pilot who transported the U.S. honor flag to Connecticut following the death of State Trooper Aaron Pelletier. He's the father of 16-year-old Marcus Rogers Jr., killed with his grandfather by a reckless driver in Winstead in 2023.
My son was on his way to hockey practice with his grandfather, and he was just driving to a practice, and a reckless driver was driving on the wrong side of the road at a high rate of speed and took my son and his grandfather's life.
On this day, the Rogers family, friends, and strangers gathered in solidarity inside Torrington Superior Court as the man allegedly behind the wheel, 25-year-old Glenn Reagan, was arraigned on 2 counts of manslaughter.
I couldn't begin to comprehend. I have a 12-year-old, 10-year-old, and losing a 16-year-old. I can't even think about it.
It took 1.5 years for Reagan to face the judge for his Connecticut crime.
Under the circumstances, I'd concur with the bond remaining as set.
That's because he's not only facing crimes in Connecticut. He was extradited from incarceration in Florida, where he's serving time for a sex crime.
He's remorseful and he accepts responsibility, and I think he will express that remorse to the family.
Fox 61 secured Reagan's arrest warrant, which details how investigators did not observe active evidence of impairment, but officers did find an opened liquor bottle and paraphernalia associated with marijuana use.
It's a very unfortunate accident.
This was reckless conduct. This goes beyond what an accident. There's no way I would ever call this an accident.
Reagan will be back in court in September. His attorney tells me he doesn't expect this case to go to trial. Separately from the criminal case, he is also being sued civilly. The Rogers family didn't want to go on camera today, but they told me that they have faith in the justice system. Reporting outside Torrington Superior Court, Matt Caron, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
A former Wallingford middle school teacher is accused of having a sexual relationship with a 14-year-old. Officers say 52-year-old Renee De Leon is facing several charges, including second-degree sexual assault. Police say it happened between April and December of 2008. However, they weren't tipped off until this April. De Leon is no longer employed by the Wallingford school system. She's expected in court later this month. The Wallingford school superintendent sent out a letter to the community saying, "We've learned of these allegations. We acted swiftly and in accordance with our district's policies and procedures, addressing the matter with the utmost seriousness. We educate our students on the importance of bringing any possible concerns to our attention and will continue to do so."
Connecticut State Police say they've returned more than $63,000 to a cryptocurrency scam victim. This after a Cheshire resident received an unsolicited offer for new tokens. Turns out it was part of a phishing scheme, and they ended up losing all of their cryptocurrency that was in their wallet. State Police are reminding residents tonight to never engage with unsolicited offers for cash, cryptocurrency, or investments.
The owner of the Hamden Plaza is asking for support to put a police substation in the shopping center.
This after more police activity in the parking lot earlier this week. But as Fox 61's Julie LeBlanc found out for us tonight, it will also be more of a community space for young people and police to be together.
2 days ago, there was a massive police presence here at Hamden Plaza as officers worked to arrest a suspect who just so happened to park his car here. Now the owner of the plaza is asking for support from the community to put a police substation here, particularly in that empty space next to Ashley's Ice Cream.
It's important that they know that we care.
Hamden Plaza owner Andrew Burmant taking to Facebook, updating neighbors on an incident happening in their parking lot earlier this week.
Somebody with multiple warrants ended up on our property trying to get away from the police, and so he was arrested.
During that arrest, multiple officers were injured, but nobody in the plaza was impacted. Something Burmant mentions in his post, plus a push for support of a proposal to put a police substation in the plaza, a project he and the town are working to get passed.
Which is just another measure to provide further security and deterrence at Hamden Plaza.
Burmant says the idea comes after an uptick in crime in the plaza post-pandemic, where his company has since invested nearly $400,000 in security upgrades, like surveillance cameras and private security patrols.
The most important thing for us as owners and our tenants, our retailers, is that their customers and our customers all feel safe and secure.
The substation, he says, will be another home base for police to deter crime, but also to connect with the community.
Our hope is that this is really a community facility where people will feel safe that police are available, they're there.
Hamden Mayor Lauren Garrett envisions the space to be somewhere Hamden high schoolers can go after school instead of hanging out in the plaza or at Panera.
This is an opportunity for us to put in some couches and video games, charging stations, and have some snacks available and meet up with kids after school.
All while connecting with school resource officers and other familiar faces. It'll be open to other members of the community too, a community Bremant is calling on for support.
I think it's important that the community contact their legislative representative and make it clear that they want to have the substation at Hamden Plaza.
It's now up to the town's legislative council to make a decision on the substation. Their next meeting is August 19th. We are in Hamden. Julia LeBlanc, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.